It's always the same scene. A silent night, phone in your hand, and you stuck in the endless scroll. The body reacts, but the soul stays empty. Pleasure shows up like a quick spark, then vanishes like smoke. And there you are again, chest tight, asking yourself, why do I keep falling into this cycle that never leads anywhere? That doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're trying to cope with a void that hurts more than you'd like to admit. And it's human to look for relief when the pain feels unbearable. Jung once said, addiction isn't about pleasure. It's about escaping what we fear most to feel. Desire itself isn't the problem. It's the signal that something inside you is crying out for healing. This video isn't here to judge you. It's here to walk with you through this struggle. I know what it's like to feel ashamed of a cycle that seems endless. Today, I want to share a secret from deep psychology inspired by Carl Jung that could change the way you see your desire and your relationship with it. How many times have you promised yourself you'd stop? How many times did you believe it'd be different, only to slip back into the same pattern when the night went quiet? That doesn't make you broken. It makes you human. And if you're here, it's because there's still a deeper desire inside you, not just to quit, but to finally reconnect with yourself. What you call an addiction can actually be seen another way, as a stage in your journey. Every fall, every bit of guilt, every empty moment, as painful as they all carry a hidden message. Because the truth is, the problem was never desire itself, but the way you've been channeling it. The same fire that chains you down today can be used to create something greater. If you stay with me until the end, you'll see why lust keeps you trapped, and more importantly, how to turn that same energy into presence, creativity, and inner freedom. This isn't just a promise of change. It's an invitation to start looking at yourself with more courage, and at the same time, more compassion. Because it's out of that balance that real transformation is born. Lust was never really about pleasure, it's always been about pain. When you get caught up in that cycle, it's not because you want to feel more. It's because you can't stand the weight of feeling less. It's like trying to fill a bucket full of holes. The water keeps slipping out, and you're left thirsty again. The relief hits fast, but it fades even faster, and suddenly the emptiness feels bigger than before. The crazy part? That emptiness isn't some personal flaw. It's part of the human ride. Nobody likes to admit it, but we all bump into it sooner or later. Ever notice how that same pattern shows up in the little things? You open a news tab just to scroll headlines you'll never read. You flip on the TV just for background noise, 'cause silence feels too heavy. You order food when you're not even hungry, just for the quick hit of comfort when the delivery rings your door. Same logic every time. A quick shot of anesthesia so you don't have to face what hurts. And when it comes to sex, adult content, or compulsive cravings, that effect cranks up to max. Your body gets a few seconds of release, but your soul, still starving. And then, of course, the shame crashes in. You think, man, I'm worthless. I can't quit. I'm weak. That inner talk is way more destructive than the act itself. I've heard people say they avoid the gym not because of the workout, but because they're terrified of what their impulses might do when surrounded by half-naked bodies. Others keep their guard up in relationships because they're carrying a secret war they've never told anyone about. The real weight isn't the desire itself. It's the silence that chains it. Over time, that numbing dulls the shine off life's simple things. Breakfast doesn't taste like anything. Hanging out with friends feels forced. Your favorite song doesn't give you chills anymore. You're there, but not really there. Like a part of you quietly switched off the feel button. It's like watching a movie in black and white when you know you once saw it in vivid color. That emotional deadness isn't laziness or lack of willpower. It's just the side effect of a heart that's been overdosing on escape. And when it comes to relationships, disappointment steals the spotlight. You convince yourself a hug, a fling, or a deep romance will patch the hole inside. But sooner or later you realize, no one has that kind of power. The fantasy drops, and what's left is frustration. Nothing feels enough. Maybe you've felt that cocktail of anger and sadness when the person right beside you can't fill the void you drag around. But that void is not their fault. It's the echo of something inside you that you still haven't faced head-on. Deep down, you know it. It's like a part of you is standing outside your own life, watching every sabotage, every repeated pattern, powerless to hit the brakes. Like driving a car at 60 miles an hour with a loose steering wheel. You try to steer, but you don't feel in control. That split, that sense of being fragmented, doesn't mean you're a lost cause. Truth is, it's proof there's a deeper root, and seeing that could crack open space for something you maybe haven't dared to believe in yet. What if the very thing you keep running from is exactly what you need to face? That's the part nobody ever tells you. Addiction doesn't show up because you're weak. It shows up because we live in a world designed to trap you in endless, easy, instant hits. You grab your phone just to check the time and, before you know it, you're lost in a bottomless scroll. What looked like an innocent distraction turns into anesthesia for the feelings you don't want to deal with. It's not about pleasure, it's about escape. How many times have you found yourself alone at 2 a.m., the screen glowing in the dark, browsing adult content like it's gonna fill you up? Maybe you've exchanged almost intimate messages with someone you'll never actually meet, just to kill the loneliness of the night. Or maybe you've stayed stuck in shallow conversations that feel like connection, but leave the emptiness even bigger afterward. That's the secret. Addiction doesn't feed you. It just postpones your real hunger. But underneath all of this, there's something you've probably never admitted out loud. You don't just crave pleasure. You crave being truly seen. No masks, no pretending. Accepted as you are, not just for your body but for your soul. What you're really after is authentic connection, wholeness, the sense of being complete again. Deep down, you know that same fire that feels like a prison today could actually be used to create, to build, to breathe life into something that matters. And here's a quick invitation. If you've ever felt this, hit the like button and drop a comment telling me which country you're watching from. I want to see how far this message reaches. Because when you own up to that deeper search, you realize you're not alone. There's a whole crowd hiding behind those same screens, craving the same thing. Inner freedom, dignity, and the peace of not being a slave to impulse. That's the hidden desire behind every relapse. It's not just about quitting a habit. It's about transforming from the inside out. Just waking up and feeling proud of who you are instead of ashamed. It's being able to look your shadow in the eye without bowing to it, walking side by side with it without being ruled by it. And believe me, this path isn't just about resisting. It's about redirecting, using that same energy that used to be escape to actually build, connect, and expand. Because deep down, you don't just want to stop, you want to reconnect. You want to feel real emotion again, real presence, real depth. You want to live experiences that aren't illusions but authentic. You want inner strength, self-respect, permanent transformation. And here's the secret nobody talks about. The way out isn't erasing the shadow, it's learning to live with it. By facing exactly what you've been avoiding, you discover the freedom you've been searching for all along. According to Jung, lust isn't the enemy, it's the symptom. A symptom of a deep disconnection from your own emotions and from the purpose that gives life its meaning. When you ignore that inner call, desire shows up as a shortcut. It gives you a sense of being alive, but only for a few seconds, like striking a match in the middle of the dark. It lights up, sure, but it doesn't warm you. It shines for a moment, then burns out. And the cost is steep. You lose your creative spark. Think about how many times you've had brilliant ideas in the shower, right before bed, or on a walk. But they slipped away because you were already drained. That same energy could have turned into a song, a business, a trip you planned, but instead it leaks into instant stimulation. It's like revving a powerful engine at full speed while the car just sits in the garage, burning fuel but going nowhere. Motivation follows the same path. Things that used to excite you now feel like chores. You even start new routines, a workout plan, a study project, an online course, but you quit halfway out of breath. It's not that you don't want to improve. It's that the fire's being wasted. The same fire that could build something lasting just turns into smoke in seconds of relief. You end up feeling tired all the time, even without doing anything meaningful. And of course, it spills into your relationships. You get close to people chasing intensity, but you dodge the vulnerability that creates real connection. So you settle for quick chats, shallow meetups, interactions that feel intense for a moment but leave you emptier after. It's like living on fast food. It kills the hunger, but it weakens the body. Addiction works the same way. It fills you for seconds, but it robs your soul of real nourishment. Jung saw a key in this. The energy itself isn't the problem. The problem is where you aim it. The same impulse that makes you reach for adult content at 2 a.m. could be funneled into writing your own book, learning an instrument, remodeling your house, or transforming your body with discipline. That fire is neutral. You decide whether it warms your life or burns down your peace. And once you really get this, everything starts to shift. Because the point was never to kill the fire, but to give it a new direction. And here's the wild part. When you find that new outlet, strength you thought you'd lost suddenly comes back. It's like pulling the car out of the garage and feeling the road open wide in front of you. And that road, the one that feels so far away right now, might be a lot closer than you think. Let me ask you straight. Why do you feel so disconnected? I'm not talking about the quick answer you'd give to anyone else. I mean the one only you know. Is it loneliness? Is it the lack of purpose? Or that awkward feeling of being surrounded by people and still feeling completely alone? That's the wound lust tries to cover up, but the more you ignore it, the louder it throbs. Now think about it. What are the triggers that drag you back into the cycle? Maybe it's the stress of your routine, the weight of exhaustion, or that anxiety that shows up out of nowhere. Could even be a single phone notification, or that emptiness that creeps in when the silence of night settles in. You see, it's not really about the act itself, it's about everything that comes before. Desire is just the tip of the iceberg. The escape is the shadow of what you're avoiding. Here's the hard question. How has this been stealing your happiness without you even noticing? Think of how many mornings you've woken up heavy with regret, swearing you wouldn't do it again. It's like pleasure works on credit. You get the feeling now, but you pay for it later with crazy high interest. Each slip might look small, but deep down it chips away at the trust you have in yourself. And look at your life. What's already been left behind because of this cycle? A project that never got off the ground? A relationship that slipped through your fingers? Maybe even the simple motivation to wake up excited for the day. Every time you trade your vital energy for a quick hit of pleasure, it's like selling off a piece of your future for a few seconds of anesthesia. And that deal is never fair. Yeah, these questions sting. I know. But have you noticed its discomfort that cracks the door open for change? When you stop and ask, why do I do this? What am I trying to hide? A gap appears, and through that gap, clarity comes rushing in. Clarity to see you don't have to stay chained. Clarity to realize there's another path, just waiting for you to take that first brave step. And maybe this is where things actually start to shift. When you realize you don't need another distraction, you need to face yourself. Because as painful as these questions might be, they're the very key to the freedom you've been searching for. And it's from this clarity that we can open the door to something deeper, something that could completely transform the way you see yourself and the world around you. You need to hear this. Guilt and shame aren't proof of weakness. They're proof that you still care. If you didn't, you wouldn't feel a thing. That cycle, pleasure, guilt, promise to quit, relapse, more guilt, only keeps you trapped because you keep punishing yourself. But a relapse isn't a certificate of failure. It's a reminder that healing doesn't happen overnight. One step at a time, and every choice already counts. The secret is swapping self-criticism for compassion. You don't heal with a whip, you heal with care. That emptiness you feel is not a flaw, it's space. Space for something bigger to be born. The quick hit of pleasure will never fill it, because it was never meant to. But when you start putting things that matter inside that space, Reading a book that inspires you, volunteering in some small way, writing 3 honest lines a day about your feelings, the whole starts turning into fertile ground. Emptiness doesn't need more stimulation. It needs purpose. And purpose is born from small, repeated choices. Now, about loneliness, let me tell you this. You don't need hundreds of friends, you just need one real connection. It could be grabbing coffee with someone you trust, making a sincere call to a family member, or even joining online spaces that talk about real vulnerability instead of appearances. Addiction is often just the symptom of unmet affection. Replacing fantasy with genuine human bond, even in small doses, starts rebuilding the foundation. And that fear of never changing, I know it can paralyze you. You ask yourself, what if I'm stuck like this forever? But the truth is, nobody stays the same once they choose to face themselves. What felt impossible a year ago might already be true in some other part of your life today. Remember when you thought you'd never get through a certain pain, and you did? The same applies here. Fear is just the mind trying to predict a future that doesn't even exist yet. As for feeling disconnected from yourself, listen. You haven't lost who you are, you've just drifted away. Your vitality, authenticity, and clarity are still there, just covered up. You can start reclaiming them with simple practices. Walking without your phone, journaling, letting yourself feel emotions without rushing to numb them. It's uncomfortable at first, sure, but it's in that discomfort that your real life shows up again. And every time you choose to feel instead of flee, you reconnect with yourself. And here's the liberating truth in all this. Real power isn't fighting desire. It's choosing not to act on autopilot. It's realizing there's always a gap between the impulse and the action. And in that gap lives your freedom. The more you practice pausing in that instant, the weaker the shadow becomes. It's not about killing desire. It's about taming its energy and turning it into life. And that's when healing stops being a distant idea and starts being something you're already living. The real shift happens when you realize you don't have to fight desire like it's some monster. The secret isn't choking it down, but integrating it, giving that force a new direction. The same impulse that used to chain you can become a source of creativity, discipline, and even inner peace. It's not about eliminating, it's about transforming. Because deep down, you never needed more pleasure. What you needed was more presence. Your body is your first ally. Every time you choose to move, running, swimming, working out, or simply walking outdoors, you prove to yourself that you can steer your energy. The sweat dripping off you is a sign of cleansing, not just physical but mental. When you train the body, the mind clears up, and that fire that once felt like it was burning you alive starts turning into fuel to carry you further. Writing is another powerful practice. Grab a simple notebook and pour your thoughts out every day. No filter. Write what you feel, what you fear, what you want. It's a way to give your shadow a voice without hiding from it. Over time, you notice that writing isn't just venting, it's building. Many of the urges that could have become a relapse turn into pages of self-discovery and clarity. And never underestimate the power of nature. Standing in the sun, walking barefoot on grass, listening to water flow, or feeling the wind on your face is more healing than it seems. You remember you're part of something bigger, that you don't need screens or illusions to feel alive. Try this simple habit. Switch off your phone and sit quietly in a park for 15 minutes. That kind of pause creates more presence than hours of empty stimulation. Meditation, even in its simplest form, is a game changer. Just try breathing deeply. Count to 4 as you inhale and to 6 as you exhale for 5 minutes. That space between impulse and action is the birthplace of your freedom. The more you practice that pause, the more you see you don't have to react right away. You can feel the desire, acknowledge its power, and still choose not to act on it. And what do you gain from this? Real freedom, the dignity of looking in the mirror and seeing someone who's faced their own shadow and won. The strength to live with presence instead of autopilot. The pride of turning pain into purpose and emptiness into creation. Little by little, you realize what you lacked was never instant pleasure, it was depth. And it's that depth that will carry you into the next step of your journey. At the end of the day, the problem was never desire itself. The real weight has always been the emptiness you try to cover with it. Jung reminds us, desire isn't an enemy to destroy. It's an invitation to look inward, to face the part of you that's asking for presence, purpose, and truth. And once you understand that, everything shifts. Because you're not a prisoner of your addiction, you're the one in charge. The fire that feels like a prison today can become the very flame that lights the path to your transformation. If this video spoke to you, hit the like button and subscribe so we can keep walking this journey together. And I really want to hear from you. Drop a comment sharing if this video helped you, and tell me which country you're watching from. It's going to be amazing to see how far this message reaches. And before you go, stick with me. Right here on the end screen, there's another video that dives even deeper into this path of self-discovery and transformation.